First order of business, presentation of sewer rate city orders by the state of Tennessee wastewater board.
So that it shows that you're either making a lot or making money or not. And it's based on what we're looking at is changing that position, not necessarily the bottom line of that. I'm going to go through all this. I've got to do it before. By the way, I guess you've got the right before. I'll go through that. Really just changing the thing from what I'm doing here. But there is a state law that says, anyone agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Can you push that? Can you pull the push the microphone that way? Yeah, just in front of you. Oh, there's one. Okay, there you go.
Okay, I'll try to talk a little bit louder too. Well, there's a state law that basically says that if you have 2 consecutive years of negative change in that position, you're in violation of state law. And this is what caught you. It just happens. And like I say, your cash position is good, but that change in that position, we'll go through that in a little bit. I'm not going to go through every word in this. You got the document. There is some, the other reason why this is going to be good for you though, and that is your capital improvement program. You have a lot of needs here, and when that time comes, Brian's going to go through that and let you know what's going on. But you're going to be spending a lot of money, or you need to spend a lot of money on your sewer system, and for needed reasons, which is going to be more debt, more depreciation, more expense. So that's the other thing. If that, take that out of the picture, you may be looking at something different as far as rate increases, that sort of thing, but you are in need of that. So that's included in here, which is something that the order basically says that you need to do. Now you have made some changes in 2019, and as far as moving some of your customers from residential to commercial, which was good, and you made some changes there too, which increased your revenue. Going forward, we're making projections, and if you'll look on page, I'm going to start on page 5. We're looking at around 20 customers, new customers per year for residential. Your commercial is not growing as much, but we're looking at maybe a 1% increase per year. Again, this is working with the city and Brian and coming up with some of these projections. And really the only way that you're going to get any new revenue in is either getting new customers in, so they're paying you money. The other way is to raise rates. But we're looking at maybe a little bit over a 1% increase per year. Now, if you get a new subdivision in or something like that, a big retail store, you're going to do better. I'm trying to be a little bit conservative with this. It is a projection. We're going on out to 2024. And you can see on the page 5, the wastewater customers seeing a little bit of growth each year. And you'll see that jump in revenue in 19 where you made all those changes. So that's going to help you. But I know that you have, we're looking at 2% each year, but I've taken that out because we're looking at new increases instead of just the 2%. So this shows that once where you are, and it's going to increase a little bit, that 1%, but we're going to have to look at more for that. The other thing on page 6, this is other income. Another thing that you're making some changes here also. Instead of selling packages to the homeowners, they're going to be buying it for themselves. That's reflected here. That's going to reduce your income a little bit, but you're not making those expenses either. The capital improvement plan, if you'll look on page 8, you want to do this, Brian?
Sure. So essentially what we have done is back in 2016, OHM came up with a capital improvement plan for all of the sewer systems. I took that plan and prioritized over a 5-year period, 10-year period, 15, 20, 25. The ones that you see listed here are the ones that are recommendations from OHM that need to be probably constructed or fixed within the first 5 years. So you'll see that. The first one at the very top is just what we've kind of called an I&I rehab. That's essentially evaluating some of the grinder pumps you already have, some of the stations that you already have, and seeing if there's some fixes that need to be done at a higher priority than others. That cost is basically the manpower to go out there and do the research, check on lids, make sure all the lids on all your grinder pumps are intact, have gaskets, everything they should have. Over time, sometimes the lids can deteriorate, the gaskets can't, so those type of things. As you see going forward, we have the Woody Lane, what we call phase 2, basically eliminating a lot of the grinder stations at each individual houses and make that into a gravity flow system. McMurtry slip lining, during our investigation previous to 2016, we saw a lot of potential infiltrations and stuff. So slip lining that will get the leaks out of that pipe. And similar to the Slater's Creek and then to the Cartwright Circle, a lot of the plan that you see over the next 5 years is basically what we call slip lining, which is just to patch up holes that you have, similar to the project that was done on top of the ridge over a couple of years last year. So, yes, I believe it's pumps. And what we found on that is there was some bad connections on some of those pumps and things like that that needed to be repaired and needed to be taken into account for where water can infiltrate in. And then, as you well know, any water that infiltrates in during a rainstorm goes through your meter over here to Metro and has to be paid for. So we're basically just trying to eliminate all that. Slater's Creek is similar. There's some line going up that hill, like a bridge line through there that we recommend using slip line. We found it's got cracks and some of the pipe on the top, and the way
Well, what I'm showing here is identifying the projects, the estimated cost, and how you're going to pay for it. That loan that's showing there, that's primarily a state revolving loan. You've got one now. You currently have one now. and it has a grant portion to it. Now, we plan on, or you plan on, paying for the rest of these primarily with the same type of loan. It's a low interest loan, about 1%. It's really low. You may get additional grants, but I've left those off because I just want to be a little bit conservative here. Hopefully you'll get them. You're not promised grants. This is not a guarantee. But I'm also showing the life of each of these, and I'm estimating depreciation, the annual depreciation. And that's very important, and I'll show you what that means in a little bit. But as much as the loan is going to increase your principal and interest, the depreciation is treated as an expense, so that's raising your expenses. I'm also showing some miscellaneous in here because throughout the years, you're going to be spending money on something. We didn't identify every one of those things that you spend money on. It could be valves, it could be a truck, or it could be pipe, or anything like that's an expense is called in this capital it's called capital improvement. Even though it may be a minor thing, it's still it's capitalized instead of an expense. So, any other questions on this page?
You're saying this is where we need the work done on these projects right here?
Yes.
Well, I noticed there's availability for a grant only for the I&I rehab, but what about the projects here? Can we not apply for a grant? Is there nothing out there for us?
Yes, there are grants out there that we would apply for. As Mr. Petty said, that we would just erring on the side of caution. If you get a grant, that's just better for the system altogether. Most state revolving funds have what they call a 10% forgiveness.
Okay.
You follow through their steps and do what they see. Then at the end of your project, they forgive 10%.
Okay. Now, is there a timeline on this? Are we required to do anything now? Or we need to do it a year? We need to wait 2 years? Or what do we need to do?
Well, for state revolving fund, you have to apply for it. And
So we need to do that now?
it would probably be a recommendation to look at trying to get into it and do it now.
Well, would you recommend us trying for the grants?
Yes, definitely.
I think when you apply for one of these state revolving loan, you have to show that you have the ability to pay that loan off without the grant or without the loan forgiveness, and then you'll get the loan forgiveness. That's kind of how they work that.
Okay.
And it's only on a year-to-year basis. My background is an engineer. I'm more of an engineer than anything, I guess. I'm a professional engineer. So I know what you're going through here. And, when you're putting in a capital improvement program over 4 to 5 years, that might happen, it might not happen. And some of these this $460,000 job may turn out to $560,000. But this is basically a guideline. This is somewhat of a plan. Do you have to go with it exactly as we got it down here? No, you don't. But I think that you need showing this to and this is one of the things that the comptrollers was wanting to see is, do you have a plan? They know that you have problems. What are you going to do with those problems? How are you going to do it? And then the other thing is, how are you going to pay for it? So this is just a plan. Nobody's going to hold your feet to it.
Okay.
But the next year, this Woody Lane phase 2, you might need to start thinking about that real soon. Now, you don't need on the McMurtry. It may not need to be this year or next year. So it is, but it's there. And it may be that one of these projects may jump above another project. But Main thing is that you've got your finances in line, and as you'll see on in here, you're going to be accumulating money, and you may be able to pay for some of these as you go. Matter of fact, we're showing a lot of this as being paid with cash. And you've got a good amount of cash already. We'll look at that. We'll be looking at your cash analysis. But you can see, do we want to pay for this by cash, or do we want to go for another loan? So we'll get into that.
We done a plan here a few years ago.
We did. What did we do?
We got ready to increase the rate twice, and then added that 2% automatic every year. We done that every year.
There was a rate study that was done, but apparently it didn't work. So
Did we not improve or put in some new lines up on Woody up there a few years ago?
several
Did we
years
not
ago.
rework
we just
some of that?
That's not what he's talking about. This
Yeah.
is past that.
Okay.
That was actually a repair. It was a $380-something-thousand repair
Wow.
that we had to,
I knew we'd done
that we
something
paid
up there.
for. Right,
Sure did, didn't it? I remember that.
yeah.
This,
I thought, y'all used to back at the plan, I thought we had one here 12 years ago. And that's the reason why we had 2 large increases. And then we started in with 2% on every year.
this next page is, needs a little explanation, the graph there. The blue line is your usage in water, basically, for your sewer customers. This is their usage on million gallons per year, 117 million gallons per year. And he goes, I got 18 and 19. We didn't have enough records to go back. It would have been a little bit more interesting, I think. But the green there, that's the I&I, that's your infiltration inflow. 43 million gallons. In other words, there's 43 million gallons of rainwater or groundwater getting into the system, and you're having to pay for that. So your total going to Metro for 18 is 160. For 19, you didn't grow much as far as usage, but your infiltration increased. You had an increase of 40, about 37 million gallons a year. You had that increase in infiltration. That indicates that your system may be getting a few more cracks in it. Getting a little bit worse. Now, I've got 2 numbers up there, that 54 and 57. That 54 in 2018 is the number of inches of rain for that year. In 2019, it was 57 inches of rain for that year. Now, that little bit of extra rain may make up the difference there, but more than likely, your system is getting a little bit older and more cracks and everything going through. So this is one reason why you're needing some of those projects that you got going.
We've done one, we've done it for down 2 years.
Yeah.
A year ago.
The main trunk line that runs down into Metro.
Yeah, we've done that 2 years ago.
That helps, really, truly, redoing all that.
Now on your depreciation, page 11. If you look at your depreciation schedule, it's got a list of everything that you own. Equipment, pipes, pumps, everything that you own is on that schedule of depreciation. And the total amount of depreciation in 2019 was $253,705. Going forward, if you'll look at that top line there, you'll see that it's actually going down. In other words, you've got some things that's going to be totally depreciated. If you had a $50,000 piece of equipment that had a life of 5 years on it, that means you're going to depreciate that piece of equipment $10,000 a year. Well, at the end of 5 years, you don't need any more. Hopefully, you can still use that piece of equipment, but you don't have to depreciate it anymore. So that's what's happening with those. However, for the next 4 years, 5 years here, you're going to be adding new depreciation. So in that chart down there, you'll see that the blue bars, they're kind of bending down, but those oranges gold bars, they're increasing. And that's primarily when we're looking at those $400,000 or $500,000, $6,000 projects, that's adding a lot of depreciation. And it's an expense that you've got to fund. Now, it's not going to go in, you don't pay it out to anybody. It stays in your account. And if you fund it every year, that money's going to grow. You're going to build cash.
Appreciate the back end, right?
That's right.
So if you appreciate something $5,000 that year, you take $5,000 put back in there.
That's right. So it's, of course, your long, you've got some of these things depreciating out 40 and 50 years. Some of them are 5 years or 10 years. So it's kind of constantly going up and down a little bit. Okay. Your debt service, page 13. Page 13. Your current debt schedule is the first one there. It's that 2017 state revolving loan, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 new ones coming on, and each one of those is paying for. And you'll see that what's happening with your debt service, and of course, from a cash standpoint, you'll need to pay your principal and interest, and you'll see that interest is way down there. Interest is, like I said, I think this was figured on about a 1% interest. You may even get it lower than that. Your expenses, page 14. Now, you had a jump in expenses back in 2017. Didn't get really into the weeds of that, but going forward, you had a 6% and 4%, and we're seeing going forward from there, 20 to 24, about a 5% increase. There's one 8% increase in there, and that's where we talked about adding a new personnel. That's what jumped that up, but everything else is pretty much based on a 5% increase. You got that in mind, your 5%. This is a lot of things that you're paying for. I think I brought that with me, but it's other than, it's obviously it's your salaries, but it's also your electrical, any kind of other expenses that you've got coming through here. That you're paying Metro, you're paying Goodlettsville, you're paying Hendersonville. All of those are going up, and it's and
I don't think we pay him.
Yeah, we do. Did you find out what that was?
It's a transport fee, like Millersville charges you. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it to get an explanation of why.
I didn't know that. That's the first I
But
heard
from
that.
my understanding, everybody that flows into the metro system, whether that's Hendersonville Utility District, White House Utility District, City of Millersville pays a Hendersonville fee. Everybody pays a Hendersonville fee, but
So
We pay it
nobody's,
through Metro.
yeah, nobody's paying us, right?
that is correct.
We pay, Metro charges that to us.
I didn't know
It's being paid through our Metro.
So all the other cities pays Hendersonville's bill?
let me explain that a little. Let me explain that a little bit different. Your wastewater goes to Goodlettsville. There's a point in Goodlettsville that it starts. Goes all the way through Goodlettsville to their pump station. Y'all know where Goodlettsville pump station is?
Over here.
Okay. That's where it goes. And from the pump station, they got a big force main that goes towards Hendersonville. And it ties into Hendersonville's line. So you're paying Goodlettsville from your connection point all the way to the connection point to Hendersonville. You're paying, that's Goodlettsville's fee. Then there's a small section, it's a bigger, about a 30, I think 36, or it's a big pipe. A force main that Hendersonville actually owns. And it goes from there to the metro plant. It's not far, but it's maybe a few miles. Goodlettsville goes through there. So you're having to pay Goodlettsville for transportation through there, and then you're paying a little bit more for Hendersonville, using the Hendersonville line to go into metro. And then, of course, you're paying the metro.
Is that Hendersonville cost reflected in the Goodlettsville cost here? That
No, it's in the metro cost, I think it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
it says Goodlettsville and Hendersonville cost.
Sure does.
Yeah, I've got the metro costs. They are broken out. We found them where it was broken out.
On the metro bill. Oh, okay, and you
Yeah,
separated
they're
it.
broken
Okay.
out. We
Yeah.
broke it out instead of putting it all together.
Good, thank you. Doing that.
At any rate, it's about a 5% increase per year. Now your cash flow analysis, figure, page 16. Cash flow, you're looking really good. And the way I've got this set up, I'm showing the amount of cash at the beginning of the year. So in 2019, the most recent year, you started out with $1,029,555. You had your total amount of revenue coming in. You had other income coming in. You had a little bit of interest on that. So you got a total income, and then you got your general expenses, your debt, and of course that's going up, and your transfers. So you got total expenses, and then the income less expenses for 2019 is $300,000. That's fairly, you're doing very well. Dealt with a lot of cities about like you, and that's you're certainly on par with them, or maybe a little bit better. However, going forward, without any rate increases at all, and I've taken their 2% off, I'm showing nothing here going forward. You'll see out there in 2024, you're going to start losing money. I'm showing some other things coming in, your tap fees, these loans and grants. So we get the total capital financing. Under that is these capital expenses. All these expenses came from the capital improvement page. So you've got money coming in, plus you've got some other monies to do some capital financing, and then you got your expenses, and then it shows an annual gain or a loss. There's your audit is based on an accrual basis, but I wanted to put it in a cash basis, so there's an accrual adjustment that I put down here to put it into cash. So I end up with an ending cash. So in 2019, you ended up with about the same amount of cash you started out. That's right. Well, I mean, this is audited numbers, 2019. The others is those are the rest is projected.
Well, there was an increase for 2019.
You're right. It does shows on 2019. Right, it does. But that's the way I'm just saying. In 2019, the money that you had, everything coming in, everything going out, the result was basically the same. On page 17, that's just kind of gives you a visual of blue is your income, the red is your expenses, and the green line is your cash. And again, that's not bad to be able to maintain that kind of cash, even without no increases. You would be doing pretty good. if you're looking at the cash. The problem is the state is looking at your change in that position, and that's going to be on page 19. And this, this is a little bit complicated, and this is what I had to change in for this current book here. It's set up something like the cash, except that it's just a 1 year. It's not a running total. This is a 1 year analysis showing the revenue, same revenue. We've got some. We've got the general expenses, but you will see in here depreciation, $253,000. That's and that's going to increase about $100,000. The other thing is transfers are in here. And also there was a, looking at that, you've got your income less expenses. You'll see that negative $36,000 and then a negative $65,000. Those are the 2 years that got you in trouble.
It's the 2 years that got us this report.
That's right. That's what got you here. Those 2 years right there. The one before, you had a plus 120,000. I looked at the 2015, it was a plus, but you just got caught here with these 2 years, and you'll see 2019, you came out of that.
So if we chose to not do anything, we're going to be back in those red numbers starting next year.
That's right.
And in 5 years, we're going to be $328,000 upside down, which probably we wouldn't be because the state would fix that.
Well, now this includes, those 5% increases. You got to picture this in your mind. You're increasing your expenses 5%. And we said that your growth was about 1%. So right there, you got them fighting each other. You're just not getting enough growth to be able to do this without increases. Plus, we've got an additional $100,000 in depreciation, but you're needing that. Now,
You said 5%, you're starting out at 15 and 10 and 5 and 5.
yes, I am. Now, I will say this, that, for this is an estimate. I think it's as best we can come up with. Let's look at what this 15, 10, 5, and 5 does. And as we go through this, I think you look at this each year. I think it's a decision year by year. Hopefully, you're going to do better than what I'm showing here by the year 2023 or 2024.
Since we corrected last time, a 15 would be 2 there, so that could be a 13% increase.
Right.
We already had 2.
That's right.
Every year.
Right. Right. Now, if you'll look at page 22. Now this gets back to the cash flow, because this is where we're looking at putting these increases. That 15, 10, 5, and 5. If you'll look on the next page, nothing else changes on this cash flow. But if you look on the next page, you'll see your cash going over $2 million. That's what this does for you. It gives you a lot of cash. to do some of these projects, and you may, some of these projects, instead of adding more debt, you know, you can pay for it yourself. And it may be once you get out to the 24, 20, 22, 23, 24, do we need those projects out there? Do we really need to do that? On the page, on the next
On
page.
this page 15, does that represent what I'm seeing on page 19, and we recommended rate increase? This is what we'd be making if we done the recommended rate increase for those years.
No, I basically taken the 2% off so that we knew that we were looking at different rates, but you would, like you were saying, that 15 would be a 13, that
Well, that's
5 would be
okay,
a
but
3.
this is what we would do to get that money to 2 million.
Right,
That's what you're telling me.
right.
Okay. Got you. Thank you.
On page 24, this is the change in that position with those increases. And you'll see on the bottom line there, I would say that 15% is going to, we're estimating that's going to give you a positive 58,000. At the end of this year, you could have another negative number. And I certainly would offer this as far as what I'm doing here in beyond. And I do this without compensation. Your next audit, look at this, compared to what we got here, and let you know how to go forward. That would be my recommendation. You're more than going to cover yourself with this change in that position. I say that you need at least for your situation. I personally would like to see you right at $100,000 on this change in that position. That means that 5 and 5 might be a 2 or 3 or something like that on those years out. But as far as making those projections out, I'm not sure that you can get there. I do believe that the 15% is going to be needed coming up this next year as you're getting into these new projects, seeing this depreciation and the new debt, that sort of thing. If it's not happening that fast, you might back off a little bit. But if it happens the way that we kind of looking at here, I believe you're going to need it. And again, those last 2 years, it may be back off to the 2%. I'm just showing that what you could do and how that would happen. Now, one other thing that I would want to go over here is page 25. And these are your rates, and I'm just going to go over the residential rates here. You've got your 2020 rates. If we go up to 15%, that's going to be about, for most of your average customer is going to be $3,000 to $5,000 or 5,000 gallons. Is that? And probably it's around 4,000 or so for usually this kind of area. You're maybe $5 a month more. And then I'm showing that on out.
Okay.
And then the commercial and motels, campgrounds. And then on page 26, kind of comparison of where you would be in 21, 22, 23 compared to some of your neighbors around here. And where they are now, they may be making increases in these coming years also.
So you're saying, Frankfurt, 5,000 gallons, 73, 53.
Springfield,
Gallatin,
right, right, yes, that's right, right. Yeah, Springfield's had a hard time. They had the, you know much about those, you know.
A little bit, very, very little bit. They're, it's very bad.
They, and then, I do have in here this adjustment policy, which was required. And then the very last page 28, 29, I put in here this Tennessee Code Annotated state law that's kind of driving all of this. So that's kind of where we are.
That code puts it in. There it is if you like it, there it is if you don't.
Yes, sir.
If over the next couple of years, we got 1,000 more people here, would that affect the rate?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I noticed for Gallatin would seem to be the lowest because they've got the most population.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's all about growth.
So if the rates were raised to 15% that you're talking about, and then perhaps in that same time period, the rooftops increased by 1,000 or 500, or maybe not even that many, 300 or 400. What you're saying, revisit it the next year, that 10% could go down.
It could possibly. Like I say, what I would offer, when your next audit comes out, I would like to look at that myself and give you an honest opinion.
Okay.
Like I say, there's, I didn't go through this, but it's kind of hard to look at that sheet and tell where you are. One of the things, there was a new law in 2018 went in effect 2 years ago, and it involves your assets and liabilities on pensions. That's in there now. That's kind of thrown in there. So I'd have to, make sure that that's one of the things that we wanted to see your changing that position as high as we can, because we don't know how to project that pension, whether it's going up or down, and it's looking at some changes there. The other thing, and I've seen this happen in a lot of communities, it's not unusual for somebody to have a $50,000 or $60,000 repair and maintenance, really big bill, and it's an expense item, not something that you're planning on, but it's something that happens, and you get a big washout or something, you got to hire a contractor to come down, he sends you a bill for $50,000. Things like that happen, and so it's good to have a little bit of cushion so that you don't get hit by this every time.
That would be an emergency fund.
An emergency fund.
And you're saying the increase that we need, we wouldn't do that until the 2021?
Well, 2021's coming up now. That's what you're looking at, this 15%.
Fiscal year 21, ending 6/30/21.
What's that?
For the year ending 6/30/21.
Yes.
Which starts July 1.
Physical year.
Right.
Yeah.
So the
2020.
increase would need to be in our next budget.
July 1.
July 1, right.
Yeah. You're right.
And what I'm saying is that you'll probably get your audit sometime in January or December or January, maybe February. Look at it then. Look at where where you are then, and you'll probably have an idea of where you are on these big projects going forward. This is, you don't have to make a decision. I really feel like you need to make this 15% increase, but you need to, at least look at this on an annual basis to make sure that, we've got enough to cover us and keep you out of trouble.
And back to what he was saying about the cash, when we repaired that Woody Lane line, we paid cash for that. It was $360,000 or $80,000 that we paid cash. The sewer fund has not borrowed money.
No.
In I don't know how many years. I've been here almost 24.
That's landlocked for you. It really is.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we just
Until
borrowed some.
no, I'm saying before that.
Oh.
That before we did these repairs that we just did, we haven't borrowed money. We paid cash all the time up to this point. So it's pretty good. I mean, it was.
You're actually in a really good position from a cash standpoint. You just got caught in these 2 years.
We're talking 2 years ago.
We spent more than we took in.
Yeah.
We spent more money than we had.
Typical.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is Metro's rates.
Right.
Metro's rates went up way more than what we lost. You know, if Metro's rates goes up $50,000 and we lost $26,000, well, there it is right there.
And I know Metro's rates, they go up in relation to the consumer price index. They go up every year.
I mean, in here, it showed what they went up those years.
Right.
I don't know what page it was on.
It's showing from like 290,000 to 333,000 from 18 to 19.
And the problem with, you know, you're paying for every drop of rain that gets into your system.
Right.
We've been fighting that right there for the last
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
We're gonna fight it for the next 20 years.
Look on page 14, Tim. I think it's right there.
I mean, on the part we need work on it all. This part right now, 2 years.
Yeah, the Metro cost went from 261 to 290. The first year we lost money. And then it went from 290 to 332. The second year we lost money.
I think once you get beyond all these projects that you're looking at, where you're not, you know, spending a lot of money on these big projects, you're kind of leveling, then I think maybe your 2% per year would probably be in line. But you need to kind of get a handle on you know, what you're going for on an annual basis. Like I say, the 15% would be my recommendation for this coming up next year. Look at it, see how far off you are for you know, based on what we got here. It's a good document. I'll certainly look at it for you and make, you know, give you another recommendation. But if we're close enough, that's fine. If we're not, I'll be the first to tell you, you don't need to go up to the 10% or the 5% or whatever it is.
And the more of the projects, the repair projects that we do, that's going to help us too, because that's going to cut that number
That's
down
right.
that's going to
That's
Metro.
right. That's
So we're
right.
not
We
going to
didn't
spend as much.
we didn't put that in there, but you're
Right.
exactly right.
So if we cut 200,000 gallons of I&I out, or 2 million gallons of I&I out, it's going to change that bottom line that we're paying Metro.
Well, like I say, you went up 1 year over 30 million.
Yeah.
As rain season.
All right. Anybody have any questions? Well, we certainly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. By the way, the one that's marked revised, that's the best one. If you got any.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Okay.
Got that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, Petty, and keep up the good training, old Brian.
He's a hard one.
He's a hard student, huh?
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need anything out of the board telling you to build whatever into the budget that needs to be built into the budget?
Well, I'll go ahead and I guess I'll do proposed. I can do a proposed increase. And you guys,
what I'm asking, do we have to raise the rate, or do we just change it in the budget?
We change it in the budget.
And then we have to raise the rate? Because the rate will have to be, it'll have to reflect a different rate if it goes up 15%.
I believe if you vote to approve the budget, you're approving the proposed revenue, which would reflect rates.
Like 2%, we'll have to vote to take 2% off. But if you don't, we'll let keep them staying there. If you put 15, that'd be 15 and a 2.
Well, we could do it either way. You could approve an ordinance setting the rates, which we probably do need anyway.
That's figured in the budget every year.
We can change that when we make the rate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
I think we do need to do a budget ordinance.
if it is,
An ordinance.
you just reflect
Setting the rates.
13% rather than 15.
You'll have to
And
add
that's the
just
same as
subtract.
15. If the 2% stays, then you only need 13.
Well, tell you, there's 2% in there every year, I'll match.
We need to change the 13.
If you don't put 15, you got to change 13.
Right. So we'll do, like we did the last time, we'll do an ordinance setting the rates.
All right, my next
So-
question is, if this has to go into the budget coming up, correct?
July 1, yeah.
The end of this month.
Well, see, that's the thing, the billing is behind, and I don't know how that runs. Deborah, do you know, how far behind is the billing for sewer? Like if for the new rates to go into effect, if they approved new rates, when would they be billed?
The last one, we had it on schedule, we go up to percentage, we always try to July, the next July.
We say the July billing, which may not, it may be, so the July billing, I don't know when that is.
We changed it after 7/1.
It's the next bill going out after the first of the month.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
That's to be an office bill.
No, it'd be a July bill.
It may be for
Whatever day it goes
consumption.
out in July.
Yeah, it may be for consumption though, and,
It may be consumption in June,
yeah,
but whatever you're paying in July, if your bill comes out on July the 1st, and the rate
Yeah.
changes July the 1st,
which is what White House Utility
It
and all
would-
of them do. It's
your bill would
7/1.
reflect that in July.
So that's what you use in June would be in July. We raise
It's the way it is now.
Yeah, that's the way it is now.
I mean, you gotta have a start date somewhere.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
my question is, if we don't have a budget by June 1st,
July 1st, you mean?
or
Yeah, July 1st.
July 1st,
Uh-huh.
what are we gonna do with the sewer?
going to take whatever they budget goes to take.
You have to clarify.
How close are we on having something to look at on the budget?
Not close at all, I can tell you. I have not got it ready yet. So,
Can you have a special call meeting just for the rate? We don't have to make-
What I'm saying, it's not gonna do any good to change the rate if we don't have a budget about it.
well, I believe what we did before is first of all, you have to have a first reading, a second reading, and a public hearing. So we have to advertise for the public hearing before the second reading. So I believe what we did before is whenever you passed it, you made it retroactive to whatever date. Whatever, I believe, did we?
So, I don't think you can do that.
Then maybe we did it for the following. Right,
If the sewer bill goes out on the 7th,
right,
July the 7th, and we don't get it past the sewer change, the rate change, and the budget until the middle of July, we're gonna have a hard time collecting for sewer that happened.
right. You could, yeah,
2 or
you
3
wouldn't do
weeks.
that. You would have to do it August 1. So,
So when are we looking at voting on any of this?
I don't know just yet.
All right. Item number 3, discussion ordinance 20-743, an ordinance to amend ordinance 19-725, the 2019-20 fiscal year budget as previously amended by ordinance 19-730, 20-738, and 20-739 to reflect the actual revenue and expenses related to water damage at Fire Station 2. Passed first reading 5/19/20. Anybody have any questions? I think the hot water heater busted or something?
No, a toilet.
Or a toilet?
Toilet was left running 2 hours and maybe stopped up and it overflowed.
It damaged all the flooring and the cabinets and all the baseboards, I believe, in the bottom of the driveway.
And the insurance company obviously paid less our deductible. So
We just have to amend the budget to
reflect the expenses,
to
yeah.
show what the proceed check was from the insurance company.
What's our deductible?
I have no idea.
1,000.
1,000?
Any questions? Item number 4, discuss ordinance 20-744, an ordinance to amend the Millersville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, zoning, by repealing and replacing the entire chapter with the adoption of a new zoning ordinance. Passed first reading 5/4/20. Anybody have any questions on that?
Well, my statement that you done it after here for business, but it's not here for business.
It was based on the city, yes, correct, and it was modified to meet our local conditions here in Millersville. And at the first reading, there was just some errors to the documents, clarification that was requested by the city commission, so those are the amended documents that's in your possession right now.
Anybody got anything?
This is on a special meeting after the work session. Yeah.
I didn't want to, I didn't know. Maybe had a lot different properties than our property. We don't have things. I mean, they have things that we'll never have. We don't have things over here. We know we're gonna make profit, stuff like that.
That's why he took all that out.
Yeah, he modified it to
Modified.
match our city.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I dropped it, went from approximately 400 pages to about 300, so about 300 pages were removed from the document to reflect our local conditions.
I read through it, and it's the easiest reading zoning ordinance I've ever seen.
Well, I looked at a lot of it, and I didn't have a problem with a lot of that. So, like when we go across an R1, R2, R3 down there. what do you-
Yeah, so the next step now that once the ordinance passes, we'll do a new overlay, the new zoning districts to line up the old zoning letters, if you will,
Yeah.
to the new letters.
Okay.
Yeah, so those will pretty much just lay over the top and just match it up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all the zoning will stay the same, like R1 will still be R1, it just might be called something different.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, you call it something else.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, we call it R1 with you.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because if I would have had to go and start picking out all the letter changes, it would have been pretty time consuming. It's just easier to re-letter than to go back through the document and try to mix everything back to the old letters.
And probably what would help the commission and even the planning commission, if you could come up with a little sheet that showed what the zoning is now.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
ask
what
for
it
that.
changes to, as far as if R1 was 5-acre tracts, R1 is 5-acre tracts, now it's R21 and it's 5-acre tracts, just so everybody would not get confused on what we're calling everything.
Correct. And then what will happen when I will definitely have to do that, and then I will have to bring the new zoning map to them for their recommendation back to the city commission, the new actual
Right.
map. So that'll be the next piece of this puzzle.
Yeah, just, I think we need a cheat sheet,
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
just so we know what we're talking about when we,
Got me through high school.
because I'm like Milton, I've been here my whole life, and one has always been R1, and it's not been R something else. All right, anything else? Item number 5, discuss ordinance 20-745, an ordinance to rezone 1124 Louisville Highway Lot 2, Sumner County Map 141, Parcel 71.00 from residential R5M to C4. I know there were some questions that Larry had. You still got those same questions?
Yep. Now, after talking with the owner, my understanding, and it shows for reference only, it's 8 acres in the bottom. That's not gonna be parking down there.
No, not at the front.
What they're gonna do, what I was told, is take this fence and move it over here like this, and all the parking is gonna be on the top.
Correct, and I think maybe your concern might be a little premature because the site plan will still have to go through planning commission.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
But
so I don't think it's fair to comment on what their possible plans are, because I haven't even been told about what those are gonna be yet. You're probably fortunate because you probably had those discussions, but at an official level, they haven't come to us with any conceptual plans.
Well, mine wasn't on the official list. Mine was face to face.
Right. But I'm just saying, they haven't come to the city of Millersville to say
Yeah,
this is how we're gonna lay it out.
Okay, all right, no problem.
But it is,
No, do what now?
number 2,
This is lot 2, correct?
number 2, right?
Yes, sir.
But number 2 is not the whole lot, right?
It's the back,
It's everything except number 1.
Yes, everything except number 1,
correct.
number 2 is the whole lot.
According to the maps that we have and our information, it's only split as lot 1 and lot 2.
So it's not even different parcels.
Yeah, the parcel number is the same, and as a matter of fact, as Holly and I talked about this, it's not even designated in the county's tax maps as a parcel number 1 and a parcel number 2 of a larger parcel. It's not even listed that way.
Only thing I'm saying is, or 2 people. He didn't even own the bottom.
Well, I don't think,
That was quoted, him and his partner, and his partner had nothing to do with that.
I can't comment on it because I don't know.
Regardless of who owns it,
Right.
regardless of what it is and what it ain't,
Right.
we are voting to rezone number 2, that whole parcel that it has number 2 wrote on it.
Okay.
That's what we're voting on.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure everybody knows what we're voting on.
I said last time, you want to do is all. But one part.
I don't want somebody to be surprised 2 months from now.
Right, I understand.
We're voting to change the zoning on everything that is inside those lines that has a 2 on it.
Okay.
Any more questions? Item number 6, discuss pit property on Ted Doris Road. That's you.
So I'm just going to pass out a map of the property at the end of Ted Doris that is owned by Mr. Pitt. As you'll recall, the larger tract of land that had a map and parcel number was sold at a tax sale some months ago. Mr. Pitt has since vacated that section and moved his operation to a parcel immediately to the west of where he previously was at. So there's a lot of moving parts here, so I wanted to at least inform the commission of some challenges that I have in the Planning and Zoning Department. Mr. Pitt is scheduled to be before the Robertson County Planning Commission next week to rezone his parcel to industrial to continue operating his business, because right now it's just an agricultural use, so there is no zoning for it. He has already gone ahead and began construction on a building and whatnot, and I've been told that there hasn't been any permits obtained as of yet for that property. But the challenges that I have for the city of Millersville is, how do we address that issue? Because we've gone back and done some research, and it would appear that all of Ted Doris was zoned into the city of Millersville with the exception of this parcel. And the best explanation I can get from the Robertson County Assessor's Office is, at the time this was done by the city of Millersville, there may not have been a parcel number and only a deed number, and that deed number wasn't included as part of our ordinance when we annexed all that property. So there's a possibility that that property is supposed to be in the city of Millersville, and we should be receiving tax benefits for that property. So I guess that's kind of the first part, the first hurdle that we have. The second hurdle is, at this point, Mr. Pitt has not applied for a driveway permit there. So on the code enforcement side of it, that's easy. So we can cite the property for no driveway permit. But we kind of come back to a property in the county who's asking for a city of Millersville driveway permit. So the road is ours, but the parcel is not. So that's kind of a second problem, hurdle that we're going to have to get beyond. I think it's important that we work out the issue of whether or not that piece of property is in the county or is it in the city of Millersville, because those construction vehicles do go up and down Ted Doris, and with the development that's slated for there, eventually that road is going to have to be improved. But yet you'll still have construction vehicles that are going to travel that road, continue to heat up the road. So I need some kind of direction from the council on what you would like me to do. I can go to the meeting next week and I can object to the rezone pending our ability to do some more research on the property to see if that property was at some point actually supposed to be in the city of Millersville, or is it in the county? And if so, would they condition the rezone on Mr. Pitt getting a driveway permit in the city of Millersville? That would mean complete improvement, culverts, entrance, meet all of our requirements for a driveway. And I'm not even sure if the width of the property would meet our zoning requirements, either current zoning ordinance or new zoning ordinance for width of an entrance to a property. So that's another issue. So it's kind of I hate to use the word, but hot mess there about what's going on. But I really need to know how the city would like me to approach this. If you'd like me to go to the meeting and contest it and ask them to table that until we can maybe work our way through this, I think that's probably the best course of action right now. And what I would also like to do is I'd like to also cite the property for no driveway permit to see if Mr. Pitt will make an effort to come in and get a permit for the driveway. I've had no conversations with them, and this kind of all got sprung upon me Friday of this past week, so I haven't been able to do much research over the weekend about how best to handle this. So that's why it's on the agenda tonight.
How wide is it out at the road?
I don't know.
Well, he gets in there now on the road.
Yeah, it's not very big. I want to say it's probably.
If he drives down the road, then he'll probably know.
Yeah, you can get in there right now. I think it's something like 30, 40 feet. It's not very big.
It's probably 30 feet.
I'm sorry?
It's probably 30 feet.
Well, number one, in my opinion, he's no different than any other property owner in or out of this city. If it comes onto our street, he should have a driveway permit, period. And his driveway permit should meet our requirements. And if it don't, then he ought to be denied access to that property through that driveway. Or at least be cited in the court and let the judge tell him he can't come in and out. As far as annexing, is my understanding we cannot annex something unless the property owner chooses to be annexed. Is that correct?
We can't forcibly annex, but we could condition the driveway permit on annexation. We can ask to do that. We can't force it, but if he says I don't,
who?
we could ask Mr. Pitt to annex.
He ain't gonna wanna be annexed into Millersville. I can answer that question for you right now.
So I guess that goes to the second step. If he says, no, I don't, I want to stay in Robertson County, and if in fact he is in Robertson County, then that kind of dies right there. But then the question is, if he doesn't obtain a driveway permit, I don't know if citing just into city court and a $50 fine is going to cause any action to be taken on the property.
It would be a $50 fine every day, wouldn't it?
We could ask the judge for $50 a day for every day's
And
compliance.
From watching our judge in the past, a $50 fine is not that much unless he puts that $132 court cost on it every time. Then it becomes a little bigger.
My only concern would be on the history of the previous property that used to be owned by Mr. Pitt in the county. past due fines and violations were never
It's
addressed.
because he was never ticketed. You start ticketing today and you ticket him every day until he gets compliant and let the judge deal with it.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we pay our judge for. You know, if we had somebody building a house next door here and they just come in and said, well, I'm not getting a driveway permit, are we just going to not ticket them?
No, we would ticket.
He's no different.
I guess the only difference is you have a property that's in the county, because I guess you
But
could
the
almost make.
driveway's not. The driveway's in the city.
That is correct, it is in the city. But I guess the problem is asking him to get a driveway permit for, if his driveway can't meet our standards for that, then what we'll have to do is take him to the Board of Zoning Appeals and ask for a variance to have a driveway.
Wouldn't be no different. What if it was up here on the highway where the only part of our city is the highway and the right of way to the highway? Any house that's built off of that highway, they would have to get a driveway permit and they would have to pour the concrete apron out at the road. It's no different. And just because he drives dump trucks, don't mean he can't drive on our road. If that was the case, down here on Long Drive, all of the industrial property we have past the creek, how would they get out? They have to drive across Millersville roads, and they don't get anything from them.
Well, I'm not debating that, I'm just debating that there's a certain amount of wear and tear that will continue to occur on the road. So all I'm doing is I'm just giving you a bunch of different scenarios and maybe what ifs, and maybe they're warranted or they're not. But I just need some direction on what exactly, do you want me to contest this at the county level?
I don't know. I don't think we have a way to annex it, is my opinion. Now, I mean, you can go talk to the county all you want to.
Well, I guess the question, other than the annexation question is that property in fact already part of the city of Millersville, and for whatever reason, there was an error where it wasn't added as part of the property?
I have no idea.
So we have some documents, but they're vague at best, going back to 2008. So it's something that would require probably the research of the city attorney to determine if there was truly an error and that property is in fact supposed to be in the city of Millersville.
Then that would probably be what we need to do, is just find out. Go down that avenue to see if it's in the city or whether it's not. But the driveway thing needs to happen tomorrow. Because once he establishes going in and out of there, not going back.
Yeah. And the
He was there
property's
for
already
20 years at the other location
Yeah.
because we chose not to do anything.
And we'll let all the scenarios, let the judge take care of all that.
For the driveway issue.
Yes.
Yeah, all I'm saying, I don't think you should have to fix the problem. You just go cite if he's not doing the right thing and let the judge figure it out. The judge and our attorney. Is that
So
right?
we will,
Yeah, and do you want me to research to see if there was a mistake made in 2008?
Yeah, I mean, as long as, yeah,
I think you're right, we can't annex it if he spikes it,
right.
but I can look to see if there was an error and it's really been part of the city all along.
I have no problem with that.
Could you get that done before he has to go to the county? Because I think going to the county would probably help us pull it back a little bit long, a little bit
When is
further down
that?
the road.
the meeting is Thursday night at 7:00 at Robertson County in Springfield.
This Thursday?
This coming Thursday?
This
Yeah.
Thursday.
Well, I wonder if you can ask them to continue it or hold off
They
until
put it on
we,
the table till we can find out.
yeah, if you can
Yeah,
ask
so
them
I
to
can
do
ask
that.
them if we can.
And tell them the city attorney's looking into it.
Well, let's do that, but let's definitely address the driveway thing.
Yeah.
That's a totally different issue.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Discuss ordinance 18-715 tabled in January of 2019, heavy truck and roadway restrictions to prevent damage to city streets. Anybody?
We talked about it on the ridge, on top, or all our streets. down here at Long and Darby.
This was an ordinance that was written and brought up when Michael was here, and Commissioner Gregory's the one that asked that it be put back on the agenda for discussion. I don't remember where it was left off and why it never came back for
I think the
discussion.
main reason it was left off is you can't police it. And again, it makes no sense to put a weight restriction on an industrial road. 0 cents. Because you're never gonna have any industry on it. That's all that comes in now there.
I wasn't on the board then, but I was in the audience every night. But this for Darby Road, when that.
That's what got the discussion
Right.
started.
Somebody
Yeah,
was leaving all that clogged with mud and
it
dirt.
was Shane Trucking.
Well,
I
they
believe.
was
Shame.
tearing the road up.
Carrying road up and they're still in that hollow.
That's just residential road, that's not.
Yeah, right.
There.
Yeah, I believe residential, we should be able to police that.
But how do
Well,
you go about policing it? So if somebody wants to pour a patio up there in their backyard, how do they get the concrete there? Do they have to call and get a special permit to get a concrete truck down the road to their house? Because you can't say, well, that 90,000 pound truck can go down the road, but that 90,000 truck can't go down the road.
True, and it'd be the same on Woody Lane.
And
They're
then
dumping up there too,
There
with the
was-
owner's permission.
there was talk about limiting the axles, the number of axles. Well, if you limit the number of axles, ain't nobody gonna pour no concrete down Darby Road because they don't come in a one axle truck. And our trash truck ain't gonna be able to go down it because they have too many axles.
Well, I think the intent was the constant, we knew that the dump truck was going, I mean, every day, we knew it was going down that road dumping. Maybe that's something you can manage more than you could whether a truck goes periodically for
So you're gonna word the ordinance to say, any vehicle can go
Oh, I
down
don't
that
know.
road unless it's a dump truck, and he can only go down it one time a week?
I think there might be more success with maybe an ordinance violation for dumping, mud from your tires of your.
Now that you can
Trucks.
enforce. If that truck tracks dirt out onto the road, you can go write him a ticket.
we don't need an ordinance for that. do we?
No, we already have.
Need
that.
ordinance.
We already got that.
Yeah,
I mean, I just don't know how you're gonna regulate trucks going up and down city streets. I just,
you can put weight limits, because I see it all the time. Is that
okay,
subdivisions only?
then how
It might be
are they gonna build the houses?
That's what I mean, I don't know, is it subdivisions only? You see
No,
those signs that say weight limits?
Well, some of them have weight limits on them, but, I mean, they still have to get the construction vehicles in there. A concrete truck weighs 90,000 pounds.
Right, if there's building going on back there. But not for dumping. Dumping's different.
You can't differentiate in it. You can't just say you can drive this truck down there when you want to, but you can't never drive that truck down there. I mean, I just don't see that standing up in court. And if you start restricting them to axles, how's our fire truck gonna get down?
We just cite them for mud, rock.
I mean, to me, the better option is to go after the dump site, to shut the dump site down,
Right.
rather than go after the truck that's dumping.
True.
You know, we're gonna have the same problem right down the street here. When Carl Shane starts running them dump trucks in there, there's gonna be hundreds of them a day. And they're gonna tear the highway up.
Well,
The only good thing is we don't own the highway.
there's several dump trucks that go into Woody Lane, because I pass them every morning, I did coming.
Most
They're
of them are
going-
Gibbs.
It wasn't Gibbs, it was somebody else.
Well, they work for
Uh,
Gibbs.
They're going up to Woody Lane, but they have permission, but I passed 3 or 4 of them in one morning headed up to Woody Lane.
My question would be, we have a stormwater guy. Do they have all the proper permits to be done? Do you know whether they do or
I
not?
think our city engineers looked into that.
Which dump site?
on Woody Lane.
Any of,
The one on Woody Lane has a state permit, it doesn't have a land disturbance permit from the city. The one on Darby Road does not have permits.
see, that's how I'd address them. That'll stop the dump trucks faster than anything you can do.
So they need a land disturbance permit on Woody Lane?
It's ma'am.
Okay.
But we got the permit from the state. We got the permit from the state.
Woody Lane does, yes, Darby Road does not.
Do they have all their silt fences and stuff up?
Myself and the stormwater coordinator went down there, they've been knocked out, so he will be cited.
I'm telling you, those T-deck fines is the fastest way to stop something that you've ever seen. Trust me, I've been there. Yep. They don't play.
He'll play.
When they fine, they're serious about it. And that's the way we should be. If somebody's doing something that's not allowed in the zoning book that we've got, or the one coming, or the stormwater ordinance, we ought to be citing these people in the court. It's no different than speeding up and down the road. If you got a car doing 100 up and down the road every day, it ain't his fault he ain't quitting if you ain't catching him and writing him a ticket. I mean, there's a small dump site out on McMurtry I've noticed. They dump 4 or 5 loads every day. And I doubt that they have any silt fences up. I doubt if they have any kind of permits. I mean, there's little dump sites everywhere. I don't know a good way to stop heavy trucks from going down the road. I mean, if somebody buys a couch, there are small tractor and trailers that brings that couch to your house. That would definitely be over that weight limit.
Yeah, but they might have 10 or 12 homes to deliver to.
Rooms to Go uses the little short pup trailers on the semi. They go in and out over in Willow Creek all the time.
Okay. So is it fair to say we just let this die again? Do we need to vote it down to get rid of it? I don't know what we do.
Well,
with
you
it.
can just choose to take it off the table and throw it in the trash. Again, I think the best way to deal with it is the dump sites
Oh,
themselves.
yeah, I agree.
I don't know any other good way to
Right.
deal with
I
it. Would you have any ideas on how to?
Citing them was your best bet, and you just, the problem with the weight limits, as you described, you can't, pick and choose who you enforce that against.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you did, if you put a weight limit of 40,000 pounds, well, then somebody's got police. Are they coming and getting a special permit to go down that road? Are they paying their $10 to go down that road? Because most of them's not going to. So you got to have somebody that can ride around and police it. And we definitely don't have that person. So I think trying to regulate the dump sites to be what they are supposed to do would definitely be the easiest way.
So we're gonna find it, regular meeting, so it's got to be sent late in the morning.
I think we just leave it tabled and
Just
it
leave
just
it
goes
tabled.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't bring it back up.
What's the need in bringing it up?
For the law, we can take it. So down.
If it's never brought up, it won't matter. It can just be there. That'll leave them wondering.
I won't bring it up again, Bill.
Do what?
Say, I won't bring it up again.
We're gonna take it if you do.
All right, discussion on vacancy on the planning commission. Mr. Lincoln Atwood is here. If no one has any objections, we'd like to appoint him to the planning commission. Anybody has any questions? Now'd be the time to ask.
I did let everybody know he's my neighbor. Been up there for 8 years on Ridgecrest, and he is. We talked lengthily, and he showed an interest in becoming more aware of the city and working with the city. And I asked him what he would be interested in planning and zoning, so he said he would. So I thought that would be a good start to get him going, because he'll learn a lot, and especially with this man right here guiding us through it. So we got a lot of stuff coming, so it's gonna be a learning experience for us. And thank you, Mr. Atwood, for coming and doing that for us. I really appreciate it.
All right, number 9, general discussion. Anybody? Nobody? All right, Mr. City Attorney, you have any comments?
You may be aware, but the Lanham case got postponed. It was supposed to be on May the 21st. It's now July 21st. Postponed because of coronavirus and that sort of thing. So hopefully we will have an answer on that day.
Yeah, I put my birthday off another year because of the coronavirus. Keep
I
myself
believe
young.
Andrew needs to speak to you about some things too. Andrew, did he reach out to you yet?
No.
Okay. Andrew, you need to get with him. Maybe you need the city attorney to call you about some issues with the,
Okay.
yeah, okay. Okay.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
All right.
Oh, quick question. Can we ask him about the Ridge Hill Road?
Ridge Hill.
Yeah.
The issue over the 2 Court of Appeals cases.
Yes, yeah.
I have not filed it yet because couldn't get anything filed in court for a while, but I'll make that a priority to get that filed.
Sounds good.
And that's the, what's it called? Declaratory judgment, yeah.
Huh? It's the
Not Ridge Crest, Ridge Hill. Ridge Hill Road.
Over off Tenon Road.
Have the court tell us.
There were so many different opinions, so he wants to file the declaratory judgment.
And that one guy just had to have his opinion, nobody else's.
It tells us where the road starts, where it stops, and how much right of way it has. All right, city manager's comments. We'll start. Dan, you have anything?
Yeah, Ellie and I are going to be meeting tomorrow with Paige Rogers, who's with OHM. She is the interior designer. She's going to be making a presentation regarding the new furniture and fixtures and equipment for the new building. So we'll be looking at what they recommend and options and different, kinds.
Will that be broke down per office? Do you know?
The F&E, how will that be broken down?
The furniture package.
Yeah,
Furniture package, yes, is broke down per office.
Okay, yeah.
okay.
We'll find out tomorrow.
All right.
Let you know. That's it.
Holly?
A couple things. I have not yet called a meeting for the towing board. I know that Mark is taking vacation. I'm taking vacation. So we've got to get some stuff together for the board to adopt. So
You are or you have?
we have not yet called.
You are taking vacation or you have?
I'll be on vacation starting June 20th and that was a family trip. And I hated to tell them I couldn't go. So that is going to be why. No, they're coming this weekend, but no, I'll be gone the 22nd through the 26th. And I know it's a really, really bad time, but I hated not to go with my family because I haven't had a vacation in a couple of years. So, but Mark's going to be off too. I forget when Mark is off, but he's not listening.
So y'all, sometime
gonna try to
around that
get together.
schedule, y'all get it covered.
Yes, we have to get the information from the Highway Patrol. We did go ahead and reach out to the tow truck companies in the city well, and Dad's who's been towing for us, and we did get some quotes for our towing, and Dad's came back by far still the cheapest. Dad's quoted, if we call them, Mark, do you remember, is Dad's, the quote from Dad's, I believe it was $55.
It didn't specify. Is it 55 in the city or 55 outside the city or both?
Anytime that we call them for a tow, regardless of what it's for, if we call them, I believe it was 55. And the other two that bid, were 175.
Or say, like that, if you go up there on Springfield on 41, where you got your car, you got that and pick it up, that's still gonna be 55. My understanding. Well, if it's in there, then that's what, that will have to be in. It won't be, that's not right.
It's in there, but I don't recall, it came in, I don't remember Dustin was dealing with that. And, because the other two did put a mileage restriction.
There was other two.
Harry's Towing, which is now owned by Duke's son, and then Duke's. So they're basically operating out of the same location under different, and I did ask the city attorney to look into that too, because I don't know that that's allowed. But Dad's came in cheaper for the city's services, so.
Well, I mean, y'all will determine that at your meeting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just wondered.
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of them, they ain't no price.
Do what?
I talked to them, they ain't no price.
Okay. Anyway, okay. C. Smith Street, Jerry and them have everything. He said it's going to be closing. It's ready to close now. We've tried to find a free sign like we had before about the road being closed, and we don't have anyone who can loan us a free sign. So we can rent one for $750 for a week.
To say what?
That when the road's closing, Brandon, what's that sign called? The message board, yes. Yeah, we have to rent one.
Why don't you just put an orange sign down there that says road closed?
They're just waiting to go.
Right. We were going to give a date when we were going to close it.
When you take the bag off, it'll say road closed, and if they drive.
Well, they just have to close the gates.
They can turn around.
Yeah. So are you okay with us just closing it and not posting a notice?
We can do a code red notification.
Yeah.
Say,
Okay.
yeah. Notify anybody else who's in sign.
I mean, worst case scenario, they drive up there and the gate's shut and have to turn around and go out.
We operate, we manage the gates anyway. We can open it when we wanted to, but,
Are the turnarounds ready? Yeah.
he said they are. It's gravel.
Well, there's rock up there.
Yeah,
So I
there's
don't
rock.
think there's any gravel up there.
No, there's rocks, there's no gravel.
Yeah, I mean, they need to be pretty smooth. I mean, we don't want to damage nobody's car, or we'll be paying for it. I thought the rock was going to be put on there, and then they was going to come back and put some fine gravel over the top of it.
And then the millet.
You got that millet thing
That
on it.
building stuff there?
Right, you can't dump this millet.
Millet.
You can't dump buildings on top of it, it's pre-curb. Stir,
I thought he knew it.
rip wrap, small, and you gotta progressively get smaller rock, and it's still way from the
There's a
middle.
1-inch rock over that rock that you got up there.
It's good size rock.
I think that's what, 2 to 3 that they put in there.
And then you need to drop it down to,
It probably needs to load a 1/2 inch, put on each side of it. I mean, we need to make sure that they are smooth enough for vehicles to turn around on. Because if somebody in a small car that sits low to the ground goes up there and tears the valance off on that rock, then they're gonna want the city to pay for it. I just make sure that they're ready.
Okay. What do I need to tell them to put down?
Probably some half inch stone.
Inch stone.
Just something smaller than them boulders that's on there.
Okay. And I will be posting a copy of the rate study on our website. We did get it on there, for the Friday meeting, but I figured we would post it after it was presented to the commission. So we'll put a copy of that on the city's website. And also, as I mentioned before, because of, me being off and then going on vacation, I do have a continuation, resolution for the budget. I've already drafted one, so I may, have that on the regular meeting agenda for the June meeting. I don't know at this point if I'm gonna have one ready to present and have it passed by June 30th. We may have a first reading before then, but again, I could present you a budget. It's not, the hard part is not giving you the budget for this fiscal year. What takes so long is projecting this year where we're gonna be, because that has to be in the budget ordinance. That's what takes so long. So it's not the actual budget proposed for the next year as it is so much as the research I have to do, which takes a couple of weeks. It's a lot of work. So that's where I am on that. There may have been something else, but I forgot.
All right, commissioners' comments? Milton? Sir?
Andrew, hold your hand still next time you try to print that.
No, that's our new copier, by the way.
Yeah, brand new
No,
copier.
that's our brand new copier. Deborah's been working on that.
If I look at that, I would get dizzy.
Yeah, I could read
Yes.
a word of it.
Yeah,
I have nothing, thank you.
I do have one thing. The election commission, June 22nd is the first day to pick up petitions, for the, election, the November 3rd election. June 22nd.
You bring the ordinances for him this
I did, yes.
Progress on public works.
Just that they're studying, a couple of them are studying and preparing to go take the test. Jared said he hopes to get a couple of them there this week to take the
I
CDL.
hope so, because the 5th
CDL
is
test.
Thursday. The 5th is
Oh, I
Thursday.
thought it was July.
No,
It's July 5th,
no.
didn't it?
It was 60 days.
Oh.
June 5th.
I thought it was, okay, I'll look. I thought it was July 5th.
No, it's always been June 5th.
Wow, okay,
60 days.
okay. I gave them the date, whatever the date was.
60 days from 2 work sessions ago.
Okay. We gave them that in the email, and, do you remember what that date we told them?
You gave an
It
email.
is. I got July 6th and October 6th for the wastewater certifications.
And it would have had to been 90 days.
Yeah, that's it. I know it's 60 days. 60 days.
I thought it was 60 days and 6 months. 60 days on the CDL, 6 months on the sewer train.
Okay.
I mean, it's in the minutes. Just, you have to go back and look at the minutes. The dates are on there. I don't know what they could be studying that long. I mean,
They give you twice a year.
huh?
They give you twice a year, like you train for, one reason.
Well, I mean, they had 6 months to get the treatment stuff. So, I mean, I know they could find a class.
But they hadn't, yeah, the class has been postponed till November, I believe, or something like that. I think Brian's the one that sent us that information.
And if the state postponed it, then
Yeah.
we'll definitely
Right.
extend that out. But you can take CDL classes right now. I mean, you just gotta go down there and take the test.
Right, I think they have to take a vehicle with them. They have to take a truck with them that they're gonna drive, so,
We got plenty of them,
right.
because we only got 2 people that can drive them.
And we got one of those that's
That's it.
out for this
Just two.
week because he's hurt or something, so he's out. So,
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Call to order the special meeting, Monday, June 1st, 2020 at 6:49 PM. First item, public hearing on ordinance 20-744, an ordinance to amend the Millersville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, zoning by repealing and replacing the entire chapter with the adoption of a new zoning ordinance. I'll now open for public comments. Anyone want to speak?
What's that, thing you did? When I first started this? I think it was man over there on those.
I have no idea.
I ran right there, it was out there.
Okay.
They was asking him about trailer, some single lots. Some have to make a big flag. Not my understanding.
The zoning ordinance refers to,
But the trailer part, they can replace it.
this is, I think you're confusing trailer parks with just trailers sitting on your property, which is permitted. So that will not change.
That won't change.
No, sir.
Okay.
It just has to be a trailer that will pass the Tennessee code,
2000.
correct?
2004.
2004.
2004.
Yeah. Yeah.
2004 and newer.
Is that the year?
Yeah, that's correct. That's when the state started doing inspections of single wide trailers, 2004.
So if you have a trailer that was brung in the 60s and you want to replace it, it would have to be with at least a 2004 model.
Correct.
Okay.
Does that answer? Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Item number 3, second reading of ordinance 20-744, an ordinance to amend the Millersville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, zoning by repealing and replacing the entire chapter with the adoption of a new zoning ordinance. Passed first reading on 5/4/20. Call for a motion.
Make a motion, we'll approve the second reading of ordinance 20-744, an ordinance to amend the Millersville Code of Ordinance, Chapter 90, zoning by repealing and replacing the entire chapter with the adoption of the new ordinance zoning ordinance.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. It'll be a roll call vote. Commissioner Doris? Commissioner Petty?
Aye.
Commissioner Gregory?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carries by a 4-0 vote. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
It's in there.
Appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
I was gonna come last month
Been staying away from the corona. Be careful, Mr. Betty.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to put in this way too. He got the line. Just vertebrae messed up. Wall. You have to carry him to get in the water and I have to put it right.
Well, my charge, yeah, he's getting there. I think he's got cataract. And he's slowly losing